बेटा कंप्यूटर साइंस ही लेना, 1 लाख की सैलरी तो गारंटीड है। शर्मा जी के बेटे ने भी यही लिया था। And you could be stuck in your career, you could be thinking about making a career pivot. Now another thing very important is do not give in to family pressures. So you need to be clear on what you like to do, more importantly what you don't like to do. One of the biggest misconceptions about the software industry. Hello girls and boys, how's it going? So let's start with the story today. Do you remember the movie The Three Idiots? In that movie, Farhan wants to become a wildlife photographer.
फोटोग्राफी का भूत सवार था दिन आपके सर पे। जानवरों की तस्वीरें लिए फिरते थे, कहते थे कि मैंने वाइल्ड लाइफ फोटोग्राफर बनना है।
But his dad tells him to become an engineer.
मेरा बेटा इंजीनियर बनेगा।
Because his dad thinks that it is the safe thing to do. Now here's the thing. Farhan's dad wanted the best for Farhan and gave him his best advice to the best of his dad's abilities. But that isn't what Farhan wanted.
मैं क्या बनना चाहता था साले किसी ने पूछा तक नहीं।
Does that sound familiar? Many of us get pushed into careers or make our career pivots on the advice of people who could be very well meaning but who might not necessarily be the experts in the fields that we are taking the advice from. And spoiler alert, that rarely goes well. A lot of us do not have that rancho in our lives who can sweep up and give us a whole new direction. So let's talk about this today. Why blindly taking advice from people who could be very well meaning but necessarily might not be experts in that field could be one of the worst career choices that you can ever make. If you're new here, my name is Rancho. My name is Savinder Puri. And I come to you with over 20 years of experience in build, release, DevOps, software engineering in general. I've had the opportunity to work in India, US, UK, South Africa. You can check out my LinkedIn profile to know more about my credentials. So beware of uncles and YouTube bhaiya and didis before you take any advice. We have all been there. You are 17, 18 years old and you are thinking about selecting your major for engineering. And in comes in an uncle in the evening, a very well-meaning uncle, and he says, "Beta computer science ही लेना, 1 लाख की salary तो guaranteed है." शर्मा जी के बेटे ने भी यही लिया था. Now you start asking yourself, dude, what does this uncle know about coding, much less AI, agentic frameworks and all of that? And who the heck is this Sharma ji ka beta? Or you could be an experienced fellow and you could be stuck in your career, you could be thinking about making a career pivot, and you look at a YouTube video with a bhaiya or a didi and they are talking about somebody in DevOps making 1 crore, 2 crore, somebody in data science talking about making 70, 80, 90 lakhs in a year, and you think DevOps or data science is the way to go. My humble request to you as I say this, take all of these inputs with a pinch of salt. That uncle does not know your likes or dislikes. That YouTube bhaiya or didi does not know about your background, doesn't know about your experience, doesn't know what you like, what you have learned so far and what your profile has been. These are all generic advices given over a public platform. Take everything with a pinch of salt, take all these inputs, but please use your own brain and then decide what you want to do. Another parameter on this is what I always like to talk about. Check the fruit on the tree. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to run a 10-kilometer marathon in the next 6 to 8 months. Who do you go to for advice on how to plan for this? Do you go to your best friend who is a very avid fan of marathons but has never run a marathon in his or her life but likes to watch a lot of marathon on TV? Or do you go to a friend of a friend who's professionally been running marathon for the last 5 years and in fact has completed a 20k marathon last month? Which of these are better qualified to give you information on the subject that you're seeking. If you want to become a DevOps person, come and talk to people who have been in that field for 5, 10, 15 years. They will tell you what it takes to become a good DevOps engineer. If you want to know about getting a remote job, talk to somebody who's done a remote job very recently or who is still in a remote job. Do not talk to anybody who's never done a remote job. They are not qualified to give you the advice. If you're thinking about doing a career pivot, ask somebody who's already a data science engineer or a data scientist. They can tell you what it takes to become one and how you become one. Check the fruit on the tree before you blindly start following the advice. Now, another thing very important is do not give in to family pressures. Now, I understand as a fresher, as somebody with less than 5 years experience, your parents want the best for you. They want you to settle down, they want you to have a good life, and they want you to generally succeed in life. However, the problem is their days of working are very, very different from what we are seeing in 2025 and beyond. The economy is different, the scale of technology is different, the job roles are different, everything is different, and their advice could be dated to their era and not yours. So you need to be clear on what you like to do, more importantly, what you don't like to do, and then sit down with your parents, understand their point of view, explain your point of view as well, and tell them not to push you in a job or in a role or in a technology that you will not be comfortable with. Ultimately, job is something that should give you happiness, that should give you contentment, and of course, it should give you money. Explain this to them and hopefully they will understand. If you're a senior person looking to do a career pivot, I would highly recommend going and talking to your husband or wife, go and talking to your spouse first. What do you say? You say, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about this career pivot for the last couple of months. You've seen me. I've been a bit groggy. मेरा मन नहीं लग रहा है इस काम में. It's not about this particular organization, but I'm just not liking what I'm doing these days. This technology stack is no longer exciting enough. I want to do something different. However, we have responsibilities. You please, be with me during this transition phase. We might have to go some difficult times. I might have to take a temporary dip in my salary or things like that. I want you to be with me. Make him or her understand why you're trying to do this. That will make your life much more easier. One of the biggest misconceptions about the software industry is that coding is one of the few options out there. This is very, very far from the truth. On the screen now, I will show you some positions which are very, very relevant in 2025 and going beyond. And none of these are absolute direct coding related jobs. These are all allied jobs in different shapes and forms, different directions. These are all the roles that a lot of companies are hiring today for. Let me know if you want me to make a dedicated video on non-coding roles and explain to you what options are out there today, and I'll cook up one. Alright Rancho, so what's your final advice on technology careers? Well, if you're a fresher, if you're not in your final year yet, you have the time to explore. And what I would recommend you to do is explore the entire area. See if you like coding, there's nothing wrong with that. We need a lot of good coders, definitely. Get into that. If you're not so much into coding, look at other areas. Even in coding, look at front-end development, look at mobile development, look at blockchain development, look at allied roles like DevOps. You will also need a bit of coding in DevOps. You could look at cloud engineering. Look at these roles. Try some of these. What do I mean by try? Pick up one area, spend the next 1, 2, 3 months on this. See if you like doing it, and only then decide. And as somebody with over 20 years of experience, I can humbly tell you that no decision is final. In a career span of maybe 25, 30, 40 years, on an average, people take between 2 to 3 career pivots, and that is perfectly normal. So don't take too much pressure on your head. अरे यार आज जो decision ले लिया जिंदगी भर वही करना पड़ेगा. Not really. There are so many people that I personally know who started off as something. In fact, on my channel, I have interview of a person who used to be IBM Lotus Note developer. And he is a full-blown DevOps evangelist today, a DevOps lead today, and is working in the UK. You can go check that out. There are so many examples like this of people who started off as a different career, over a couple of years later, made a pivot, and are hugely successful today. So don't take too much stress. Try out different things and then pick one that you think you like and go for it. What is more important is once you have figured out the area that you're going through, focus on the fundamentals of those things and then think about AI, agents, blah, blah, blah. All that will come later on. For you as a fresher, I would humbly recommend to focus on the fundamental layer of the field that you're choosing to go. If you're an experienced person looking to do a pivot, there is only one question that you have to answer for yourself. Actually, two questions. The first one, what is the area that I would like to pivot to? And if possible, have that area very close to what your experience has been. Because it leads me to my second question. How will you leverage your existing experience of 5, 7, 10, 15 years into this new role? Why do you need to do that? I'll tell you. Because let's say you come from a testing background and you want to pivot into DevOps. Great. You learn all the tools and the technologies. You have 10 years experience. Now where do you start from? You can't start as a DevOps engineer. You're way too experienced, way too much salary. Nobody's going to hire you. So you do something where you build on top of your existing experience and then leverage that, and then you do a career pivot. I have explained this in some of my videos. You can go have a look, but remember these two things. Take your time to decide what your career pivot is going to be. Do not do it on the basis of what other people are saying, but see if it is adjacent to what you're doing. And second question, see how you can leverage your existing experience to make the career pivot. Hope this video made sense, and I have dedicated playlist for IT and non-IT people to get into DevOps roles. I will pin it in the comments. It'll come up here on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.